And I think, what do you all think? Should we get started? Yeah, I think let's get started. And I know it's a lot of content to cover. People will keep rolling in, but let's get started. We have the conference recorded. The session will be recorded, and if you need to go back and to catch up the something you missed, we'll post the video later after the conference. Okay, you. Thank you so much, and welcome you from Xliber's training team to give us the training on how to create a new analytics dashboard. Here you are.
Okay, so thank you for having me. I'm Yoel Kortik. I'm a senior librarian at Xlibris and located in Jerusalem. It's not 6 a.m. here, 4 p.m. And thanks everybody for joining, especially considering the various times which we've all become accustomed to doing on these international meetings. So the topic is analytics dashboards, creating a new dashboard. Before we jump into looking at dashboards and creating dashboards, I want to send out a link to everybody. And this link is about dashboards. It's a presentation on how to edit and change a default dashboard, how to create a new dashboard, and how to create a dashboard prompt. During today's session, we will create a new dashboard and we'll create for that dashboard a dashboard prompt. I'm not going to go through slide by slide on the presentations. Everyone knows how to read a PowerPoint on their own. I'm going to go through it live, showing what's going on with the dashboards. And also, no need to wait until the end. If anyone has a question in the middle, feel free to stop me. Tao, will you be monitoring the chat or something? Okay, so if there's a question, just let me know in the middle. No need to wait until the end. Okay, so dashboards. If we go into Alma here, I'm in Alma and I'm clicking the analytics menu and I'm going into design analytics. And that opens up, as everybody knows, or everybody who's used analytics, it opens up a new tab in the browser and I'm in analytics. We have in Alma Analytics several, in fact, a lot of default dashboards, and those are under a folder called Alma. And under that folder called Alma, there are various subdirectories. And under each of those subdirectories, we have default reports and dashboards. A dashboard, as we will see, is a collection of common reports, often with a common prompt. For example, if we look here under acquisitions, we'll see a folder called dashboards, a folder called prompts, and a folder called reports. Typically, and it's a best practice, that if somebody is going to make a dashboard, first create these three folders. It makes everything more organized. Technically speaking, it's not necessary, but it's a logical way to keep order of the reports, the dashboards, and the prompts. So if I look under acquisitions, for example, I see dashboards, prompts, and reports. And if I go to a different directory, I have dashboards and reports because here I don't have a prompt. And if I go, for example, to API usage, again, dashboards, prompts, reports, e-inventory, dashboards, prompts, reports. So under each folder on the Alma directory, we have the subfolder of the area, and then we have the dashboards, prompts, and reports. There might not be prompts if there are no prompts in the dashboard. Let's take a look at a few dashboards, and that'll help us to define what is the dashboard. So I'll open up the acquisition, back to acquisitions. So if we come to acquisitions and I come to dashboards, the most recent of these is called Fund Reports. Just a few months ago, this one came out. And if I click open on it, we'll see we have 4 different tabs. We have fund balances visualization. Then we've got title by title list, and that's title by title of each fund. And then we have the invoices. So, and also by fund. So that shows that there are 4 tabs showing similar reports or associated or related reports covering the same topic, all grouped together. The purpose being that a user doesn't need now to open 4 different reports in order to see the connection between the different data. Everything is centrally located in one dashboard. More than that, there is one prompt which will cover all 4 tabs, all of the dashboard. For example, if I come down here and I decide that I want to do some work on this generic fund, I can put that in there, apply, and now this tab is working only on that one fund. And that prompt also, if I come to the next tab, that prompt is also saved here. And now this visualization is also for that one fund. And if I come to the title by title list, it also is only for that fund. You can see the fund code, generic, all the way through. Same thing in the invoice lookup. So again, to summarize, a dashboard takes reports of a similar nature, of a related associated nature, puts them all in one central location, and then uses a prompt to be able to filter among all of the reports in the dashboard. The reports and dashboards that I pointed out until now are in a folder here called Alma. I'm going to open another browser to also show something. While I do that, I'm going to explain. The Alma folder is a folder which is read-only, meaning if a user wants to use something that is in the Alma folder, he or she can use it from there, but if he or she wants to change it, then he or she needs to save it somewhere else. And that would be in a folder of the institution. Now I'm in my own demo environments here. And in this particular one that I just logged into, the name of my institution is Alma University. And in your cases, it'll be the name of your institution. So the Alma folder is the default out of the box reports and dashboards that cannot be changed by the institution. The Alma University is the name of the institution. That's where anything can be changed and saved. In the community, they can also be changed and saved. I'm going to look at one more dashboard. I'll take, for example, I went into Alma. Let's go to benchmark. Let's not go to benchmark. Let me go to fulfillment or inventory, dashboards, open. So if I were to want to take this dashboard and make a change to it, I would need to save that in a local folder. For example, if I were now to, I've got too many parts of this Zoom over parts of my screen. Let me just move them around. Okay, if I were to take something now from this Alma folder, for example, a report here, you see I'm under Alma Inventory Reports, and edit this, you'll see I don't even have a button here. This save button is grayed out. And if I were to do save as and try to save it in the same folder with a different name, it won't let me because that's a read-only folder. I would need to take this and say save as and then go to Alma University or whatever the name, even in the demo environments, I've got all kinds of names. And then I could save it here with some type of other name. And then everything's fine. So that's a general overview of where are the default out of the box reports and dashboards. And if somebody wants to take one of those and save it locally, he or she needs to put it in the institution folder. Now we're going to come and make our own brand new dashboard. And by doing that, we'll learn more about the dashboards and how each of you in your own institution can go and create your own dashboard. So we're going to start completely from scratch here. And the first thing to do is to create a directory structure where we want to put the new dashboard and reports. So I'm going to go to a place where I can save, not the Alma folder. And under here, I've got reports. And then I'll go to Ex Libris development. And I'm going to make a brand new folder here. And I'll call it, let's go new. I'm on the top left here. And I'm choosing new folder. I clicked this for new, the arrow going down. Now I'm choosing folder, and I'm going to call this eBUG June 14th, 2021. Now, like we saw before, I'm going to create 3 directories: prompts, reports, and dashboards. Even though I might only have one dashboard, I'm going to make it in plural. We'll see why. I'm going to call it dashboards, and we'll see why towards the end. So again, while I'm in the eBUG here, I'll say new folder, and we'll have reports. And again, we'll say new folder, dashboards. And again, new folder, prompts. Okay, now we'll make at least 2 reports, because if we're going to make a dashboard, even though we could do it with 1 report, but we're going to want to make some tabs and show how to put multiple reports into the tabs, etc. So let's make some reports. Does anybody have a subject area they want to give me, or should I just decide on my own? Anybody have a subject area they'd like me to make reports in just for the testing purposes? Okay, I don't see anything, so I'll decide on my own. Create analysis. It's not too late now if anyone wants to throw out a subject area.
Yeah, someone suggested e-inventory.
E-inventory, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to e-inventory. And let's make 3 very basic reports, because our purpose here is not how to make a report. The purpose is how to take existing reports and put them in a dashboard. So let's say I want to know portfolios. Let's get the number of portfolios in the repository. And let's take the LC categories here. So do we have the LC here? Yes, we must. We've got it in every subject area. There we go, LC classifications. I'll take the LC classification group 1, and I will filter out. I'm sorry, I got all these windows from the Zoom just keep going all over the place here. And I'll filter out unknown. I don't want the unknown is not equal to, is not in unknown. And let's say, what else do I want here? Vendor interface, interface name. Let's throw that in. Oh, we'll put that in the next one. We got a lot of reports to do. So now I've made a very basic report. And make sure that works okay. I should probably have filtered it out by maybe by creation year, because now I've got everything in the repository. Okay, and I've got a very basic report here of number of portfolios according to the LC Group 1. I'll just make that a little bit nicer. Let's say we want to get the top 10 here. So I'll say filter is equal to, is in top 10, and I will sort this descending. So I've got the big ones on top, and we're all set. So now I've got the number of portfolios in the repository by the LC Group 1. And even though we said we just want to make a very basic report, I'll throw in a bar graph there. And there we go. I'll put this on the side. And we've got our first report. We didn't yet put in the filters. We're going to save that to the end. Very basic report. And let me see if I can just get rid of this picture here. How can I get rid of this thing all the way on the side? There we go. Hide thumbnails. There we are. All right. So now I'll say, did I save this yet? No. So now we'll save this report. And we'll save it in reports. And we'll call this top 10 LC Group 1 by, we'll just call it that. Okay. All right, so that's our first report. Now let's make another one. Let's make at least 3 reports. So when we start putting them in the dashboards, we'll have something logical here. So let's take, for example, the library name. Okay, library name, and this is from the portfolio. Great. So let's, instead of the LC Group 1, we'll put in the library name. And here, I could just drag in the library name, or I can replace it here. So I will edit this, edit the Group 1, and instead of the LC Classifications Group 1, I'll go into the portfolio, I'll find the library name, and we'll replace it. So where was the library? Sorry about that. What we'll do is this. We'll say cancel. We'll do search, because library can appear in several places. We want to make sure we take the desired one. So library name is under e-inventory portfolio library unit. Okay. We'll edit the Group 1 and portfolio library unit. Here we are. Library name. Library name and library name active differ, by the way, in that library name includes all libraries which at least one time existed. They may have been deleted, and library name active is only for the active library. So I'm going to take that, click the arrow. I replace now the Group 1 with the library name. I'll save, and I'll get rid of this filter here, and let's go see what we've got. And we can already start saving this one while it's working. There we go. So now we've got the names of the libraries. I'm going to get rid of name a library null. As you know, a portfolio doesn't have to have a library name. So I'm going to say filter is not null. Okay. And we've got our second report. So I'll save this one now. Save as. And top 10 libraries. Okay, and let's make a completely different report now. Let's say, I'm going to make a brand new one. I'm not even going to base it on this one. Create analysis. Again, we'll choose e-inventory. Let's take now e-inventory. We've also got usage here. So let's go into the usage. And let's go to usage measures, and let's get just the usage total. And together with the usage total, let's get the platform. So platforms coming from many different places. That's from the counter report. Let's get it from the counter report. Let's see what we've got here. And then we'll fix it up a little bit, make it a little nicer, and then we're ready to put these in a dashboard. We're later going to return to these reports because we're going to want to make a field that we're going to prompt by. Okay, and let's do with this one, like we did with the other one, where we get only the big ones, and maybe we'll make a little graph. So we'll come back here and we'll say, give me filter. Let's get the top 5 this time, is in top 5. And that should cover that. And maybe this time we'll make a pie. So we'll go graph, we'll go pie. Where is the pie? Graph and pie. Okay, and we'll stick that over there. Wonderful. So now we've got 3 reports. That's enough for our purposes. Now we're ready. Let me save this. Now we're ready to take these 3 reports and put them in a dashboard. So this we'll call top 5 platforms by usage. Okay. So now we're done making the reports. And I'm just going to rename, this is top 10 LC group 1, rename. This is by number of portfolios. And same with the other one. We'll add by number of portfolios, just so it's got a logical name there. Okay. I'll even spell it properly. Okay, and this one also. Rename. All right. Okay, before I take these and I put them in a dashboard, does anyone have any questions or comments? Because now we're moving on to the next stage. If there's a question or a comment. Oh, I'm looking at the chat here. Let's see. Someone asked, can you save all reports dashboards from a folder in the Alma folder, or do you have to do it one by one? Let me read that again. Can you save all? Oh, you can take, you don't have to do it one by one. If your question is that if you want to take things from the Alma folder and save them elsewhere, you don't have to take one report at a time. For example, I can take the entire directory here called API usage, which happens to have several reports and maybe even several dashboards, but at least one dashboard. I can take this whole folder and say, I'm selecting this and doing copy. I did more, copy. That now copied the entire directory. Now I can go somewhere else. I'll even go to my folders. I'll make a new folder called eBUG 14 June. And in this eBUG 14 June, on the bottom left here, I'll click paste. And that it'll take a minute or two because now I took quite a bit. That's there, we're done. Now I've taken an entire folder and putting them all here. I wouldn't recommend taking the entire Alma folder, even though theoretically you could do that. Theoretically, you could go from the shared folders and just copy the whole Alma. But I wouldn't do that. I would take it folder by folder because we, Ex Libris, constantly update these, and then you'll have an old version. So I would take them as you need them, but you can take more than one, as we saw. I hope that answers the question. Let's see what else someone may have asked. Someone says e-inventory. Okay, and we chose e-inventory. And someone says, I create a blank dashboard and then create a folder in the dashboard for the reports. If that's a statement, Okay, that's possible to do. I don't know if that's a question or a statement. If it's a statement, it's possible to make a blank dashboard and then create a folder in the dashboard. I recommend using the folder structure that I stated here, which is a folder and then under it, dashboards, prompts, reports. It can be done other ways. And then someone sent in a smiley face. Okay, so I guess I covered all of the chats. Let's go on. So now we're going to that directory that I made just a short while ago. Let's go there. I put that under eBUG June 21. And now we're going to create a dashboard. Now I'm going to give a little introduction here. We use the Oracle Business Intelligence. What we're using here is Oracle Business Intelligence. Oracle Business Intelligence has its own method internally of where to put dashboards. In many places, in fact, probably most of the people in the world who use OBI are not Ex Libris people, but we have integrated OBI with Alma, and we can put the dashboards anywhere. They can be saved anywhere. So you're going to see there's going to be a message after I decide where I'm going to save the dashboard. And the reason is because the OBI has their own way of saying, put the dashboards here, and it will automatically appear in this menu here, which is dashboards. So I'm just telling you in advance, we're going to get a little message. We can just ignore it. And even there's an option there. It's not an error message. It's just an informative message. But we're going to save ours right in this directory. In fact, if I go there in advance, I think it's automatically going to suggest. So now I'm on the top right, create, and I'm creating a dashboard. Okay, what are we going to call this? This is going to be the eBUG June 14 Spectacular Dashboard. Okay. Now, by default, it's giving me a folder, but I'm going to go browse the catalog here and choose my own folder. And it's already, as you see here, in the eBUG June 14, 2021 dashboards. So I'm all set. What am I going to call it? That's the folder. So we're all set. Okay. And we can rename this in a moment, which perhaps we'll do. Let's just see here. Dashboards. Okay. Okay. That's the menu I was telling you about. The message I was telling you about. I'm going to say add content later because I want to show everybody how the whole thing works. Let me just make sure we're in the right place. Yes, we are. And okay. So now we've created a dashboard. There's nothing in it yet, but we created it. Here it is. Now let's start putting things in it. So we have 3 reports, and we'll start by making a separate tab for each of those reports. Here we go. And I remind you one more time that you all have links to these, how to edit and change a default, how to create a new one, how to create a dashboard. Everything I'm doing is in here. I just don't want to bore people by doing next on the PowerPoint presentations. But we're going in the same order, same content. Okay. So now let's edit this and let's begin. So by default, it has 1 page so far, which is called page 1. And now we're going to start putting in the reports that we made. So I'll say shared folders, and then we'll go to where we saved this, which was under reports, and then Ex Libris development, and then eBUG June 14th, 2021 reports. Now let's say I want in this first tab to have the report that we made called Top 5 Platforms by Usage, which I see that I misspelled, but no big deal for our purposes. I'm going to drag it in. I'm just taking it with my mouse and dragging it right here to where it says drop content here. So now we have the report in the first tab. Now we'll create another tab. Here, I'm going to click this icon here on the left. It says Add Dashboard Page. I'm not going to add a subpage. Maybe someday we'll talk about other things for subpages. I'm clicking Add Dashboard Page. I'll call this one by LC Group. And now I'll drag this report, the other one we made, directly in. And now I've got one there under LC Group. Now we have one more here, which is by library, top 10 libraries. So I'm going to create another one. I'm going to save first, because as you saw, if you create a new page and didn't already save the page, it asks you, do you want to save? So I'll save. And here again, I'm going to click this Add Dashboard Page, Add Dashboard Page. I'll call this by library. And we'll drag in this report here, top 10 libraries. Now there's one thing we still need to do is rename this page 1. So page 1, we'll rename that to by platform, because we got the top 5 platforms by usage in there. So to rename a dashboard page, we're going to go here to Tools, Dashboard Properties. And many changes can be made there. One of them is the renaming of the pages. So I'm clicking the cog wheel here, the Tools, Dashboard Properties. We can see on the bottom here the 3 different pages I've got. I'll select the page 1. Here there's an icon to rename it. And we'll call it by platform. Okay, so now we've got 3 tabs. And I'll save this. Let's click OK. Save, and now we've got the dashboard. We can test it from here if we want. And click Run. Okay, here's the report we saw by platform. Here's the one by LC Group. And here's the one by library. Now, let's add a prompt in there. Now the prompt, the advantage of a prompt, which is on the level of the dashboard, is that a person, a staff user who is using this dashboard, chooses that prompt once, and then it applies to all tabs. And that differs than if I were to add a prompt to one report. I see a chat came in. Let me see what it says. Will you provide the link? I did provide the link. I'll provide it again. I'm copying here this link. I'm going to paste it somewhere else so you'll see. If I paste this link, it goes right to the section about the dashboards. And there we go. Here's the 3 the dashboards right here. And I'll send that out to everybody one more time. Okay, so here we go. Boom. All right. Yep, paste in chat. Yes. Okay. Next. So let's take a look at what I mean by if we were to make the prompt be on the level of a report, it won't save across the whole dashboard. So let's go back to one of these reports. I'll take this report here. Let's go back to catalog. And there we go. And up. Reports. If I were to take, for example, the top 5 platforms by usage, or let's say top 10 LC Group 1, number of portfolios. If I were to now make a prompt on this report. Let's say, for example, I want to say, what do I want to prompt on here? Let's prompt by, let's see what we got. Making that larger so I can see. Portfolio creation date. Let's prompt by portfolio creation date year. So I'm going to go to the prompts. First, I'm going to make a prompt on the level of the report just to show the difference between making a prompt on the level of the report and making a prompt on the level of the dashboard. So right now I'm doing it on the level of the report, and I'm going to choose a column prompt, more columns. I'm not going to over focus on making a report prompt because we want to focus on the dashboard prompt, but I'll take the portfolio creation year here and I'll just leave everything as it is. Choice list, okay, okay, and save. Let's go look at the dashboard now. So now we'll go up, dashboards, and open. So on this tab, I don't see any prompt. On the By Library tab, I don't see a prompt. On the By LC group, I do see a prompt. And then if I choose a value in the prompt, let me take 2020, for example, or 2020 and 2019. Then it runs for that page using that prompt. But now I'm out of my dashboard. I need to come here and click return to go back into the dashboard. And then I need to go switch around here and I don't have the same prompt. Now we're going to see how that differs when I do a whole dashboard prompt. So first of all, let's get rid of that page prompt because we want to make everything clean here. So that one I added, I believe, here. And we'll go to the prompts tab and get rid of that prompt. Select it and gone. Okay, so now we're going to make a dashboard prompt. And maybe even education and dashboards, this how to create a dashboard prompt. So now we're going to be going through what's in this presentation, just so you know. You don't need to worry if I'm talking fast or whatever. Everything we're going to do is right in here. And let's begin. So just like it says here, we're going to do create dashboard prompt. Create dashboard prompt. What do you want to prompt by, anybody? Does anybody have a suggestion of what you want to prompt by? Other than year. I chose the year. Anybody have a suggestion of anything else? If so, chat it in. If not, I'm going to go with my idea of the year. Oh, someone wrote something in the chat. Let's see. Provider. Okay. Provider. So let's see. Where is the provider here? Provider. Okay. Provider name. Okay. So we'll do it by provider name. Now I can do a prompt without displaying it, or I can display it, but let's do it first of all without displaying, I mean, as part of the report. So let's take create dashboard prompt. Now I have to choose a subject area. 99% of the time, if not more, the dashboard prompt comes from the same subject area as the subject area of the reports, because there has to be a match. I would say always, but I'm afraid sometimes to say always because there's always those exceptions, especially if I'm being recorded. Okay, so now let's add that. Here I am. And we're going to add a column prompt. And we'll choose the provider name. So where was that? I went and looked for it, but I don't remember. I thought it had its own folder, provider name, portfolio. Anyone remember where the provider was? Feel free to send it in. Let's just go right here to portfolio, provider name, LMNOPQR. Here we are, provider name. Okay. Now, there's all different ways of making the prompt. For example, do I want to make it mandatory? Can a user choose more than one value? Can a user fill in manually by typing it, etc.? And there's a full explanation I've gotten here about all those different things. Next slide. This one here, for example, talks about all different options. So you can see here, but let's take a look. I'm going to say it's a choice list. And I'm going to say it's possible to include all of them. I can also make a default selection. In fact, let's make the default be all. And that'll do it for us. So I'm saying you can choose multiple, enable user to select multiple. The user can type the values if he wants, and there'll also be an option for all values. And I'll click OK. And now we've added the prompt. Now, let me save that. Now, also inside the reports, let's save that. Hold on. Before I talk about inside the reports, I'm going to save this now inside the prompts. And this is going to be the eBUG June 21 prompt by provider name. Okay. And okay. So now I need to go tell the reports prompt by the provider name. And let's see how we do that. I do that via a filter in the reports. So in the reports, I'll edit one by one and say, I could have done this at the beginning, but I wanted to show the whole process step by step. So here, I'm going to add a filter. Let's go to the criteria tab. Now I'm adding a filter for a field that I'm not displaying. So I can do that from the bottom right here. I'm clicking this picture of a filter. It looks like the kind you put on top of a bottle when you want to pour a liquid in. A funnel, I think that's called, it looks like. More columns. And then I'll say portfolio provider name. And the filter will be is prompted. That means take the value of the provider name from the prompt. So we've done that now on the first one. Saved. Now we'll do it on the second one. So we'll say criteria tab, click the funnel, more columns, portfolio provider name. And again is prompted. Save. And the third one. And again, criteria tab, more columns, portfolio provider name is prompted. Okay, now we're done with the reports. Now we need to put that prompt inside the dashboard. So let's edit the dashboard. Here we are, the dashboards, edit. Okay, and we're just going to drag the prompt to the top of each tab. So again, we're going to navigate to that prompt. Bottom left under shared folders, we'll go to where we saved it. That was under, here we are, prompts. Here it is. I'm going to drag it right in. I'm dragging it right to the top. Save, go to the next tab, drag it right to the top, go to the next tab and drag her right to the top. Now let's run it and see what's going to happen. Open. Okay, so now we've got our dashboard. You can see that by default, it shows all column values because that's what we had chosen. If I click here, now I can unclick all column values and say I want IEEE in Sage. Apply. Let's see if the numbers changed. 3 million on the first one. Yeah, 3 million.67 and apply. And it changed. Now I no longer have 3 million on the top. And IEEE Explorer is one of the biggest ones because that's one of the provider names that I chose. Now, when I switch again to another tab, that filter is still there. You see, it's still here. And if I change this now to all, you see we got 478 social science, 223 mathematics. Now I'll say I want all, apply, and the numbers change because now I'm getting all. I'll choose now just the IEEE Explorer, apply, numbers have changed. I come over to buy library and it's still keeping the IEEE Explorer and now I only have the central library. And if I choose all, I'll have many more libraries. IEEE Explorer, just the central library. So now summary, we've created 3 reports, then we created a dashboard, then we put the 3 reports in a dashboard, then we created a prompt, then we added the prompt to the dashboard and saw that the advantage of a dashboard prompt as opposed to a prompt of a report is it gets saved across the whole dashboard. I see there's 2 chats that came in. I'm going to look at them in a second. Our next, I'm just going to open my window here. Our next goal here is to make this accessible via Alma to relevant users. Let's see the 2 chats that came in. It sounds, someone says, in fact, let me take this so everyone can see it. I'm not going to say anyone's name. You can say whatever you want, and I won't. You see my Word document, right, everybody? Want to make sure everything's getting shared. Okay, so somebody says, it sounds like the best practice is to have all of the reports in your dashboard in a subfolder named reports, but I can have reports in other locations as well, so I don't have copies of the same report. That is correct. And I'm going to write down here what I stated. Best practice is to have a folder, which is the name of the topic. Then under that folder, best practice, reports, dashboards, prompts. Now, you said something interesting that if you have the same report in different places, you don't want to duplicate it because you might call this one from one place and this one from another place. On the other hand, you might forget that it's being called from somewhere if it's not in these dedicated folders of reports, dashboards, and prompts. It's your own decision what you want to do. I recommend you make a folder with the name of the topic. I called it eBUG June 14th or whatever. and then under there, make your reports, dashboards, prompts. Then you won't by accident go change your report, which is being called who knows where. If you start calling reports and dashboards from all over the place, you run that risk that you'll forget that you're calling it somewhere else and you'll go change it and have all kinds of repercussions. Let's see, there was another chat. Seems like a lot of repetition. Can you not create the dashboard prompt once and have it apply across all reports? Yes, you can. I did it this way because if I had done it the quickest way possible, I wouldn't have been able to give over a lot of the information I gave over. In the real world, someone would probably create one report, have the dashboard, have it already call the prompt, then create the dashboard prompt in the dashboard, and then just duplicate it. But I wouldn't have been able to teach anything doing that method. And I will, however, show something, but we've got 8 minutes left and I want to show something very important. But what happens here, each of those tabs creates underneath the dashboard here a one of these, which this is each of the dashboard pages. So what I could have done is done it just once, copied it, and then pasted it right here. I'll paste bottom left, and now just rename it to whatever I want, and then I don't have to start drag the prompt in, and I could have taken the report and duplicated that. There are quicker ways to do than what I showed, but for explanatory purposes, it wouldn't have been a good idea. Okay, in this way, even if it takes you a little longer, it's a sure way, it's an organized way, and it's a one-time thing. Once you make it, you're done. So you spend another 5 minutes, but you got a good organized report dashboard, and you know exactly what's there. But yes, there are faster ways. Okay, so now we want to make this accessible to the relevant users. The purpose here isn't just some academic exercise to see how fancy can I make a dashboard. I want to pass this on to users. And the way we can get users to be able to access this when they click this analytics menu is by making an analytics object. So I'm going to analytics objects list. And the analytics objects can be widgets, scheduled reports, or dashboards, or just a report and not a dashboard. So let's jump right in. We got 6 minutes and I want to make sure I cover this. So I'm going to say, add a new analytics object. And the analytics object that I'm going to choose now is going to be a type dashboard. And then we'll see that in order to make it accessible only to the relevant users, we give it roles. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to call it A just so it appears on top. A, the eBUG spectacular dashboard. Okay, I'll give it a description also. And now I'm going to choose the folder where we saved it. So bear with me while I go all the way to that folder. Hold on. I got to remember where I put it actually. Let's go to, there we are. Here we are. Okay. It's the eBUG June 14th, and there it is, the eBUG June 14th spectacular dashboard. Now, which users do I want to be able to access this? Users who have certain roles. For example, a user who is a circulation desk manager might not be interested in this. Let's say add role, or a user administrator. User administrator is also probably not interested in this. Inventory operator for sure is interested in this. So let's give this under inventory, we'll say electronic inventory operator. Anyone with the role electronic inventory operator will be able to access this dashboard. I'll click add role. and save. And now let's see what's going to happen. Let me just see that latest chat that came in. Let me just copy that so everyone can see what the person said, keeping it anonymous, of course. So someone asks, just to clarify, if you're going to add a prompt to the dashboard, must each report also include the same prompt? Each report that you want to use that prompt with, yes, it must include the name of the report, the name of the field that's being prompted with a filter is prompted. Yes, the answer to this is yes. Okay, so now I'm going to log in as a new user because I want to see if I switch tabs now. In order for this to take effect, you can't just now say, oh, I added it. Now it's going to appear here. And you need to log in again because now it needs to go look at during the login process, behind the scenes, it goes and it looks at your roles, et cetera, et cetera. So in my other browser here, I'm going to log in there. Boom. And now we're going to look at that analytics menu. And if everything worked properly, we're going to have a link to the dashboard. We're going to open the dashboard. We're going to see our prompts and all that we created. Here we go. Analytics. There she is, the eBUG Spectacular Dashboard. Clicking that opens in a new tab. And there we are. Defaults to what we said, which was all column values. Shows us what we got. We can come along and choose a specific one if we want. And apply. Then if we go and we switch tabs, we will see that it gets saved there, provider name, still IEEE Explore, by library, still IEEE Explore. Okay, and that brings us to local time 1659, means we got 60 seconds or less. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? No other questions or comments. Okay, so I think we're all done here.
Good work. This is really helpful. And yeah, I think I do see people asking questions. We are listening, and I really appreciate the best practice you mentioned. We do dashboard all different ways, and it's good to hear from the expert what's the best practice, like the best way to organize file, organize folders. And thank you. This is a really helpful session.
Great.
And,
okay.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to see you on Wednesday or Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, for data visualization. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, we definitely look forward to that. Thank you so much, Yo. And
okay. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a nice
day.
And
you too. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
For the others,